So, just like we talked about last time, value is the lightness or darkness of a color. Specifically, this time we are doing a blending step value scale. So we learned step value scales are showing the individual distinct value changes. This time, instead of using marker, we are going to use a smooth color value. That is what I will be looking for. And instead of using marker, we're going to be using graphite. So we used a marker last time, so we weren't tempted to do blending, which is changing the pressure to cause a value change. So use the pencil that you have on your table or that you personally own. First, we're going to start with the dark value. I'm going to turn my paper so it's a little bit easier for me to add that value because I like going up and down versus side to side. So I'm going to go up and down. I'm pressing as hard as I can on my paper. I'm trying to make it nice and neat. I'm going to turn it so I can get those vertical lines a little bit easier. I'm pressing as hard as I can on that paper. And that's how you make a dark value using blending. Press as hard as you can. The next is dark medium. So you press a little bit lighter on your paper, but you should be able to tell the difference between number 1 and number 2. So number 1 is a dark value, number 2 is a dark medium value. If you've got two different values like I did just a second ago, you want to take your time and make it consistent or the same all over your box. So comparing the two, you should be able to tell the difference. Number 3 is in between that, or sorry, a little bit lighter than that. So even less pressure than what you did on number 2 will give you a medium value. If you're using an ebony pencil, then it's kind of difficult to get a true light value since ebony pencils have a lot of graphite. So ebony pencils create very, very dark values. If you want to use your normal pencil, you can always do that. But at the same time, I still want you to demonstrate you can make light medium value using what I've said. So I pulled it up a paper towel and I rub on top. That rubbing on top puts some of the graphite on it. It also helps smooth out any lines you may have. And then you drag that value onto number 4. Number 4 is a light medium, and it should be the same in the box. You don't want it to be the same as number 3. If you make it too dark, you can always take an eraser and erase it out, and you can always make the outside look a little bit neater by erasing the value outside of it. Remember, 5 should be left blank. 5 is the lightest value. And that's how you make a value scale of blending. So we've got dark, dark medium, medium, and light medium. The second step to finish today's DOL is to go to page 3. So on page 3, it says gradation. That is the gradual change in value. So it says gradation value scale at the top. It says slowly change the value from light to dark. So like always, we still start with dark. And I'm going to turn it vertical because that's how I work a little bit better that way. And what I'm going to do is start with the dark, press as hard as I can, and instead of making a very different value, I'm going to continue that. So instead of pressing as hard as I can, I press a little bit lighter, even lighter than that, even lighter than that, even lighter than that. So once you get to medium in the middle, you got to use your paper towel, just like last time. So you take it and you blend it together. It'll get rid of the values as well as help you do values over here. So you can also press hard on your paper towel and lighter on your paper towel to get some different values. So you may have to go over it. That's what happens. Because right here and here I can tell the difference. So I go over it and I slowly change my value. Then I continue that slow change. Because if you make a slow change one place, it messes up the rest of it. So it's going to maybe take 1 or 2 passes of doing this gradation value scale to get it correct. And that's okay. That's what happens. I'm going to do the same thing here. A little bit lighter. And even lighter than that. So I'm going to start off with my paper towel and I'm going to re-crinkle it up. This has already graphite and I don't want that much. So I'm going to re-crinkle it up and lightly press to get rid of that value change. Don't press too hard on your paper towel. If you press too hard, that gets rid of all of it. And then you add the lightness over here. And try and make it consistent on top to bottom. Right here is not exactly the same for me. So I'm going to work at a little bit more. You guys don't have to have this many value changes, but I want to show you what it can be. And like I mentioned last time, you can use your eraser. You can always erase out the value. You do not want to use your finger. Your finger has oils in it. That oil prevents the graphite from smoothing out. Now it'll smudge it, but it won't be a nice smooth value change. It'll be too much. And I'm going back and trying to make my box consistent because I didn't hit the top. It's a lot easier to make things darker than it is to make things lighter. And there you have a smooth gradual change. We've got my dark, and it's slowly turning to many different dark mediums. Goes to my medium, and then it's slowly turning to my lighter mediums. I still see a little bit of lines towards the top here, so I'll go ahead and blend that out. So, remember, gradation, that is slowly changing value from light to dark. Try and get it over the entire scale. I'm looking for 5 different value changes.